Alright, I don't want to get too much into it with how I usually describe these readings before I get started. I'm doing Megan Thee Stallion. Someone recommended doing this video a long time ago, back when there was an issue with Tory Lanez. I did not feel prompted to do a reading on her. However, she has been coming closer to the forefront of my mind lately. I don't know anything about her other than she's a very popular artist, and there was some sort of altercation that involved another popular artist that I also don't know much about. Okay, so when it comes to you, Megan, what I'm getting right now is a lot of healing, inner child healing, and your guardian angels are indicating that the things that you, I'm seeing the color green, okay, they're showing me green really quick, so there's something around you, or you're messing with, or there's something important that's the color green. It doesn't feel important, honestly, it just feels like it's very close to you, nearby. Or you're messing with it and it's green, if you were to watch this video. So I'm recording this, and I'm not sure, it's Monday the November 14th, I believe. So I'm gonna post this probably like within a week from today. Maybe I'll post it on Friday, so just so you guys get a time frame of when I'm doing this video. I'm also indicating green it's a separate message. So green, something near you, and then Archangel Gabriel is coming through. So there's Gabriel who is guiding you or helping you or protecting you, in the sense of they're protecting your inner child, and this part of you, what it feels like is a part of you that is being, it's kind of like an orb around this part of your heart that you are supposed to heal. So that feels impenetrable, in the sense that this is something that you want to focus on, you have been focusing on, and you're going to continue to focus on, in order for you to become more in tune with yourself and stronger in who you are. It feels like I'm getting so many different messages, so excuse me if I start getting scattered and I don't complete things, so just try and follow my train of thought here. So I just got this image of the story David and Goliath in the biblical sense, not in a more interpretive sense, and how I'm just noticing this is burnt out, and I think this is a significance here to what I'm saying, because it feels insurmountable, because there's people that are holding you back, and they feel big, they feel giant, and this feels like a corporation, an organization, like an entity, like a physical entity that is comprised of several people, multiple people that are physically holding you back. It feels chained and restrained. It's as if no matter how much progress you try and make to distance yourself from this, the more that you're being resisted, you're being pulled back, and keeping you confined and refined to this particular type of way of being, and you wanting to break away from it. And that's what I see. And then I can see like the valley, they describe the valley, and then I see you with your natural skill set of you being able to change your story. For you to be able to change your story, if you so choose to believe that you can. And this goes back to you creating your own reality, in the sense that how you perceive things or how you speak about things changes the way that you feel about something. So it's changing the narrative in the way of you talking about something in a more empowering way, and in a more healing way, and in a more thought-provoking way, rather than a victimization or feeling helpless or feeling angry, like all of the negative ways that you should rightfully and could rightfully perceive it, but switching the narrative now. And from there, they're saying also paying attention to not resisting the way that your inner compass feels or your body feels. If you feel angry or you feel tired, then that's indicative of you wanting to rest, right? If you're tired, rest. Don't resist it. Don't say, I need to supplement it with something to motivate me, or I need to go do something so I'm not tired anymore. The way to do that is to heal yourself, is to rest. That's what your body is asking for. If you're angry and you're frustrated, then a way to change that is to find something that is more soothing to what it is that's causing that. What they're showing me is to look at frustration or anger, because it's perceived from a sense of helplessness in some sort of situation, looking at that as a disease. The way it's like scattered, like it's like looking at it as like bacteria, looking at it as something that needs to be healed. So what's the antidote for that, right? Like, don't look for something to suppress it, you know, like if you're tense, you know, and you get what I'm saying. Don't look for an antidote for it, or something that's gonna, I think antidote's the wrong word, but don't look for something that's going to mask those feelings. Look for something that's actually going to deal with those feelings and get rid of that disease, right? And do that. Because right now, that's what you know you're being called to do. That's what you're feeling you're being called to do. And that is a way to not only reroute and restructure your inner world, but it empowers you, because then that is indicative of the helplessness that you perceive in this situation with whatever kind of corporation or organization or entity that is trying to confine you. Because it's related to this personal internal issue, because there is a way out, but the way out is it's a level of understanding yourself more and changing your narrative, right? It's like, it's a perception that they're holding you back, but there are other options. It's kind of like, I'm getting a so what energy, like a so what, like whatever they say, whatever kind of situation, threats, or like whatever kind of consequences, there's an option of so what. Like, then just don't care, right? I don't think it's that simple necessarily. I don't think it's that simple, but it is in the sense of if you shift that perception. But you're not going to get to that. They're saying you can't jump to that. Like, you could feel like you could go like that, but it would be faking it. Like, you wouldn't be authentic and strong in your belief if you don't change your inner core of whatever's childhood wound. It feels associated with your heart and vulnerability, and taken advantage of, and there's owning that truth, your authentic truth, and that's where it is. That's where it starts. Healing that first. And they're saying I know that it seems insurmountable, or it seems like it would take a long time. It's like, how can I can't do that overnight. How can I do that overnight? And it's not about doing that overnight. It's about confronting it first. Confronting it head on and just owning that truth. And then from there, shifting the narrative. When you look at it head on, then you can actually address it authentically. If you don't look at it authentically, you can't address it authentically. So when you do that, that is where things get started. That's where things start moving. and it's not about having to have that completed before changing your ability to break away from this corporation. I'm calling it a corporation. I'm not sure what it feels like. I mean, if you were to be watching this, you would know what I'm talking about. It's outside of you with a control over you. It feels like a control over your, like, creative gifts or your creative integrity. It feels like your creative vision, even who you identify as. It's like, this is you, this is what we created, and you are to remain this way. Like, that's it. You're not allowed to go beyond what it feels like a chain. It honestly, like, if this is it and I'm gonna draw, okay, so because I keep pointing at this because that's how I feel. It's like you are the entire paper, but we're going to draw it on here. It's like, here are the chains, right? Your chain, it feels like 2 chains, honestly, 2 or 3 or 4 chains. Like, honestly, it feels like 2 chains, but I don't know. I'm sure there's a joke there. And then here's you. Here's you. And it's like, no matter, every time you try and branch away and branch away and pull away and pull away, they don't even do anything. It's like you're still chained. You're still chained there. And then they're like, you know, they're showing me, okay, because it brings me back to David and Goliath, and how David, we're talking about, if you take it in a literal sense of the Bible, it's like he takes these pebbles, right, and then he goes and eliminates Goliath. Everyone else was afraid. All those other warriors were afraid of him. And David was just a servant, right? And then later, there's like jealousy towards David and threaten towards David, because what they're showing me is, go back to the Bible, and they brought me from here, from that situation, David and Goliath, all the way up until Esther. So something that happens right after David and Goliath up until Esther, and read those stories, and they're saying, look at that in a more interpretive sense. They're saying the interpretive way. Don't look at it in a biblical interpretive way. How can that, how does that parallel to your life? How is there a story in there that's similar to you? They're showing me somewhere in between after David and Goliath, okay, whether it's Saul with Saul or after Saul, so maybe somewhere there, between Esther or at Esther, somewhere between there. How does that relate to you? And you can do it, because what I'm feeling from you is like, I can't do it. Like, I can't do it. I can't break away from this. There's no way. And again, they're highlighting, you need to change your narrative. And if you have to listen, too. I mean, it's your free will. It's your choice. That's what it feels. This is not, let me see. You're meant to persevere. That's what you're meant to do. But it's your free will. That is not something that is set in your life path to have irregardless of your inner work or outer work. You know, sometimes, oftentimes, and even in your life, there are instances that are fated because of things that you've done, you know, leading up to you being Megan in this life. However, this is meant for you to overcome and learn that lesson or challenge yourself in that. This is something that you're supposed to put the work in to do, and you have every right and choice to not do it. And I'm seeing separate subject. They're showing me a male, a younger male. I want to call him a boy, but he's not a little boy to me. He's like 16 to 20s, it kind of feels like, somewhere around there, because he feels like a, I don't know if he feels like a teenager, because I'm in my 30s, so the people who are younger look younger to me, but he's like fully aware, like looks lanky, like tall. I don't know if he's really lanky because he's wearing like thicker clothing. And I can't tell. Okay, so I think he's passed away because I'm like, I can't tell if he's crossed over or not. And then, I mean, that looks swirly, and it's Milky Way perspective. So there must be someone who is crossed over, okay? And he's younger than you. He's not related to you, but you feel connected to him, or you feel close to him, or like you've talked to him, you know him. That makes it seem like you don't really know this guy. It feels like you know him and you feel close to him. He's definitely crossed over. He's like, maybe you've known him for that long, since he was like a teenager, and then now he's in his like 20s. I don't think he's in his 30s. He looks like he's like 20s, mid-20s. He just looks young but aware and like a teen, okay? Late teen or 20s. He's coming through because he's saying he just wants to confirm that he feels very blessed to have known you in this life. And he wants to acknowledge that. And in some ways, that's acknowledging how wonderful of a person you are and like how deeply cared for you are. He's indicating that maybe you don't really see how much people genuinely love you or care about you, and that he can agree, and he's indicating there's a lot of dark people around you, like a lot of dark-sided people around you, and that you're not wrong, but in the sense that there are a lot of people who are trying to get at you. It feels like they're grabbing at your energy. So it's like, as you're chained here, it feels like people are actually getting into your energy field, dark-sided people getting into your energy field and stealing your energy. It feels like they're stealing your aura. That's what it looks like to me. Like this sharp beam, and it looks red. So it's like your heart chakra, your root chakra, like people are stealing your energy. And knowingly, like you're aware, you know this and you feel this. And in all instances, right, like you're allowing this to happen. It's like you're this vortex of energy, right? Like we're all like this pure energy, and you're allowing things into your chakras. That's what it looks like. They're like, it looks like a needle, right? Like, or like a mosquito, you know, and they have those little needle mouths. It's like injecting all the way into your aura, and then pulling your life force out of you. And he's showing that, and he's saying, that's not true. Like, you know, you're not being vulnerable, right? Like, that's, you're vulnerable to attack, yeah, but as far as like authenticity and vulnerability by telling your truth or showing your truth, or like vulnerable in the sense of like, let's say if you are more faithful and like God loving, not God fearing, God loving, then that allows you to be vulnerable. That allows you to, and addressing these fears, or like your wounds, then that allows you to be vulnerable, right? I don't think I need to keep like going on and on about that. I think you understand what I'm trying to get across here. He's saying that's the way to close off your energy, and that he wants, he's correcting me. He's like, it's not that I want, she needs to do that. It's not that I want her to do that. She needs to do that. And he's saying, like, you don't know how powerful you are until you have your power. You don't have your power. They're taking your power from you. So how can you say you're one way when you haven't even been able to show that? You haven't been able to put that on display. You haven't been able to prove that because you never have. It's not that you've never had that, but you haven't had that in a long time. And you're allowing yourself to put up these barriers. Like, it's, what it's doing is, again, like, you not addressing it and you numbing yourself to this is all it is. It's like the numbing agent that the mosquito has so that it can inject you. Otherwise, it would be very painful, right? So you're numbing yourself so you don't feel the pain of people stealing your energy, stealing your work, stealing who you are, stealing your craft. That's what it feels like. It's like they're literally stealing your creative genius. They're stealing who you are. They're stealing your light. They're stealing all of this. But the power to have a true fortress against this is to acknowledge yourself. To face yourself, to face your truth. And emotionally and intellectually, spiritually, and verbally say no. It's not going to happen. Don't allow it. You just don't allow it. It's as simple as that. There are people, he's showing me people who are related to you. He's not related to you. And he's showing me people who are related to you that have passed away. They're older than you. Okay, these are people that are older than you, that have passed away, that are related to you, and you would have a good relationship with them, or at least in spirit you do. Like, maybe you never really knew them, but you are biologically related to these people. And you know this because on some level you communicate with them. Like, you are aware you're communicating with them. And he's saying that you need to hone in on that. You need to accept that. You need to acknowledge that. It's like, you know, it almost feels dissociative in the sense that it's like you talk to them, but then you still live this life. How do I say it? It's like, I think you would know exactly what I mean, where it's like it feels separate, right? It feels like two separate worlds. And it's like, yeah, you talk to them, but you don't change your behavior. Like there's something that doesn't change, but you feel connected to them. And it's like, well, they're very wise. They have a lot of wisdom. So actually like use that information. It's like that information or that connection is there, but you're not using it in the way that you could. They're saying it's not that in a way, they made sure I didn't say should, and they're saying to go back and explain that. The reason I said should is because there is obviously a lot that you can learn from what you've experienced up until now, up until today, up until the moment that you would assumingly see this, or the moment in time right now that I record this. It's like you would know on some deeper level, like you had to experience what you've gone through, not just to appreciate things on a more mature level or a more like you can see things differently, right? Like you have a better perspective on things now. It just wouldn't have aligned previously. Like there were things missing here, right? And so even this person who passed away, it feels like as you're experiencing this, like they would have passed away fairly recently. It feels fairly recent to me, in the sense that they've seen your growth through this. They've seen you struggle through this. And so if you wouldn't have had them on a more spiritual side, like pass away, so they're talking to you with this higher perspective, even though they would have been more supportive of you, this is in a more pure form. Like they don't have all these attachments, human attachments associated to them. So it's like all the elements are kind of melding in together in perfect harmony for you to take action currently, right? It's like the path is clearing up, the debris is clearing enough way for you to kind of shimmy through. So are you willing to do that? And so they're saying that it's not that you should have ever communicated with them in another way, or you should have taken their advice any other way. Maybe they're kind of like I don't see them, and I can feel them, and they feel older, and it feels like multiples, but the energy I feel is like a humorous energy, so they're kind of like smirking in a way, but I don't actually see the smirk, where it feels like there were instances where you should have listened, like, but it's minor, and it didn't affect the overall trajectory of where you're going. But they're like, you could have actually taken our advice, because you did hear it, and you did feel it, and you did call it. It's like, oh, I said that, I knew it, but I am who I am, what do you expect? Kind of thing. And it's like, well, yeah, they get it. They understand. They understand you and your journey. And I just saw this glimpse of another country. It feels tropical. It could even be like Caribbean, because I could just feel the colors. It could even be somewhere like Singapore, because I'm not getting it's colorful. It's very, very colorful, where I'm seeing like yellows, greens, blues, purples, like bright colors. And then I felt it in a distance. And so what I'm seeing here is like you going to this place very soon, or planning. It feels like you're either going to this place, like you've already planned, or you're going to plan to go to this place, or you have planned. It's one of those. It's like you haven't gone there yet, but you've either just talked about it, or just booked it, or just realized you're going there, or just started packing, something along those lines of going to this area. And this is where you're going to do a lot of reflection. You're going to get a lot of insight. And it feels like the good kind of grief, like grieving, but the good kind. It's like cleansing. It's like cleansing your entire body, just getting rid of all of that feeling and emotion. Because they're showing me a desert, and then they're showing me a meadow, which, oh my gosh, it's right here at the bottom. And here's the meadow. This is what they're showing me, like this. And they're giving me this story here of this. You are the desert, right? And surface level, when you look at yourself, it's harsh. You don't want to be vulnerable in this situation because it's survival. And yet, if you look at it in a more intellectual level, when you look at yourself intellectually, or if you like, another way that we can see this is when you practically look at yourself on a surface level way, you see like it takes so long for these cacti to grow here, and for these rock formations. Like the desert has been here for so long. They're ancient and wise, and only the strongest can survive in a desert, right? So you're strong, and you feel, and I would say you could accurately say this, that very few people can experience the things that you experience and survive. You're a survivor. You're resourceful. You're I just saw like I heard hallucinogenic, like you're hallucinogenic. You're not hallucinating, but it's like that imagination, right? It's like the imagination. It's like you can see the mirages, or you can see things that people cannot see. So you're also, in a way, a prophet. Like you can prophesize things in your life and surrounding you and people near you, right? Like you are intuitive. And also that has a nod towards your creative talent. You have good foresight into what is popular, what is unique and interesting. And they're saying like how you use this ability, how you use these gifts is really up to you. And like, you know, this energy vampire type of thing going on here. And then they're showing me the meadow, and how, you know, at one point this is oceanic, then at one point it's the meadow. And you can look, and vulnerability here, and vision quest, so look at the words too. But vulnerability in a meadow, it can also be frightening for someone, right? You're out in the open, much like here, and you don't know what's underneath the surface of all of these flowers, right? But it is perceived as very beautiful, just as this can be perceived as very beautiful, right? but equally intimidating and scary. And you have to be able to know what plants that you can eat and you can't eat, and so on and so forth. It's the same, but two different perspectives. And they're also showing only you can turn a desert into a meadow. Only you have the ability and the power and the strength and the consistency to put in that work, because it would take so much work to turn this into this. And they're saying, you know, they're showing me these chains again. They're showing me the chains, and they're showing me you being enslaved to this corporation. And it's like they're forcing you, it's like forced labor for you to turn the desert into a meadow, because they know you're the only one who does, you can do it. So there's that so what energy that's in between these two cards. Is like the so what. Is like, only I can do it, so what? Like, you're not going to take the credit for this. You're not going to be able to do this. You're not going to use me. And it's not even going to feel, it's not just rewarding, but it feels like this doesn't have that spirit in it that it would if it were to be painted. I'm saying the word painted, but it's really like, you know, seated in a way that feels natural to you. It would have to be in their image, not in your image. And it feels like no one in this world, and they're indicating like, you have to understand this. So I'm saying, and this is in unison with this person. This is in unison with this person, these ancestors who've passed away, and your guardian angels. It's in unison. They're saying you have to understand, no one in this world is going to truly understand the hard work that is being put in to turn the desert into a meadow, because they're not you. And it's like, they just wouldn't know. They would never know. Even if, and again, not many people could do it. But looking at the fact that it's been done, it's like, you know, now the critics come in. Now they have an opinion. Now they think they could have done it better. And it's like, go out and do it, please. But don't, because you're not going to survive. You're not going to be able to do it. And this is very specific, right? There's only this particular landscape. So even if they tried, they would have to use a different landscape. It would not be the same. Why compare? There's no reason to, there's no point. And it's basically like, ignore it, leave it alone, because you have to understand no one's ever going to understand. You have to understand no one will ever understand. And it doesn't matter. It literally does not matter. Who cares? Who cares? Energy healing work. Thank you for sending healing energy to me and through me for my own blessings and for those all around me. Thank you for connecting me to loving and high integrity healers and teachers of energy healing modalities. This is what you have to work on. This is what you have to pray on. Pray for and pray upon. That was a weird wording, pray on. But P-R-A-Y on, not P-R-E-Y, because they're praying on you, but you have to pray on this energy healing and maintain this high frequency. And they're even showing here, highlighting, it's like, let me just repeat it. Thank you for sending healing energy to me and through me, and for my own blessings and for all those around me. So pray for their healing as well. Maintain the strength in you, maintain the boundaries in you. Say no. That's all you have to do, is energetically and spiritually. No, not allowing it. No, you're not welcome into my energy. You're not allowed. And don't believe in that. Don't allow it. Don't believe in it. And keep your focus on healing. Keep your focus on caring for yourself, being sensitive to yourself, all of that healing towards you and everyone else as well, even those who have betrayed you, everyone that's harmed you, those who want to use you and I'm hearing train, they're like trying to train you or something, but it's like all these people, it's like just bless them, genuinely bless them, and pray for their inner integrity and strength to prevail so that they can look at themselves and heal themselves righteously and fairly, so they can be fair to others. We have make a commitment. This is making a commitment to yourself. Commit yourself to this greater cause of being good to you, being fair to you, healing you and your inner child, and committing yourself to changing your energy and changing the way that you perceive and the way that you live your life so that it's in alignment with what it is that your inner wisdom, which is being facilitated by your guardian angels and these ancestors and supported by these people who have crossed over that you are familiar with. Like let them, you're already letting them show you the way, so just try it. Like actually sincerely shift. But again, that's your choice. It says, Archangel Michael, as the angel of courage and confidence, I call upon you to lend me your strength. Allow me to commit to myself, my life, and my divine purpose. Please clearly guide me so I can fully open my heart to every experience. And ultimately, right, like to yourself and to God, like to give you that strength. You don't have to rely only on that, because they're being dictated by the highest authority, by God. That's who your guardian angels deliver these messages from. Positive thoughts create positive results. So again, keeping your thoughts in a more constructive way. Divine love and wisdom, I call upon you now. I know that my mind and emotions are eternally and continuously connected to you. I ask my higher self to be aware and conscious of the love and light that is within every person and situation. So just as you should rewrite your narrative and your story in your mind in a more empowering way, looking at other people who have continuously wronged you for various reasons in a way that can free them. It's like cut those energetic cords and just free them from your energy. Know what matters and what doesn't matter to your growth, and cut them off even from your mind, right? It's like wish them well and send them on their way. And those who are currently chained to you, there is a solution. Just look at it as you preparing for battle. In the way that they're showing me how David was not prepared for battle. He wasn't even there for battle, and people doubted him. And then he just, like, he followed his intuition. He's like, wait a minute, like, I am capable. I can do this. This is ridiculous. What are y'all doing? And, like, goes out and fights Goliath. And it's like, this is easy peasy. Eternal love. are going to feel this very, very soon on a deeper level than you've felt ever and in a long time. Sometimes when you feel love, it has a tinge of pain associated with it, or grief, or tension. This is going to be a love that is divine and healing and pure and sincere and true and straightforward. There are no caveats with it, even emotional caveats. It's just love. And it feels connected to this vacation that you're going on, or trip that you're going on. Feels like that, and also a reminder that you are eternally loved, and that those around you, no matter what they have committed against you or others, are also equally loved and are deserving of love, even if you are not the person to provide that for them. Just basically seeing that everyone on some level, we are all equal, and our grief, our pain, and struggles are all equal, and that basically it's not our place to judge that. It's just our place to protect ourselves and to move away from it, right? It's kind of that energy of just wishing them well and going on your own path, right? Says, help me perceive all of the love that surrounds me so that I can feel safe receiving, expressing, and giving love. And I do see in your future a new version of you, a more true version of you. It's you, a different style of you. It's like music, or some creative pursuit or project that is, it feels very sensual and feminine and fulfilling. Like, it feels like you are very proud of this project, you're very excited about this project, and it feels like a new wave of popularity for you once again. Because I know you're extraordinarily popular and famous right now, but this is like, you know, it's like you dictate the trend towards this more sensual and feminine energy. So you're doing that again with some other creative pursuit or album. And it's your creative vision that created this. So that's what I see. Bye.